Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Innovation Unplugged. I'm Houston Blackwood, the host today, and across from me in the Innovation Unplugged studio in Decatur, Alabama, is Mr. Jamie Waller. He's the founder and CEO of Rate Manufacturing, which is a drone manufacturing company. A lot of folks don't know about it right now on our audience, but they're about to, and it's going to be an amazing show. And for me, this is a personal connection between a mixture of personal and professional, because it kind of jumps into both in our world. So before we get going with all that down the road, man, just real quick, Jamie, who are you? Where'd you come from, and how'd you get right here?
Sure. I'm Jamie Waller. Where I come from, it's a bit of a weighted question. I grew up in New Jersey, spent half my time between New Jersey and New York. Went to college up in Boston when I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. Joined the Marine Corps in 2008 to 2012, which arguably is why I am sitting here right now. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I got my degree in aeronautical mechanical engineering. Went and worked in the rocket industry for the past 7 years. First 3 years were at ULA, not down here in Decatur, but out in Denver.
Okay.
And then moved to Decatur in 2022. Worked at ULA in production engineering. And for the past 2 years, was at Blue Origin as a project engineer and a propulsion engineer. And then very recently, I started a drone manufacturing company called Rate Manufacturing, specifically aimed at making affordable, scalable, and modular drones, predominantly for going after the demand that the Department of War has signaled to the industry.
Okay, that's a lot. And that it interested me, just so the audience knows, like we connected through church.
Yep.
Through a small group, and I was like, okay, this is a cool guy. Yeah, I didn't know you. Like you signed up.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I love meeting new people, and so then we got to know each other through the group, and you were just started working on, or had just started working on the drone project, and which I thought was the coolest thing. And then one day you were like, hey, listen, I'm about to do it for real.
Yep.
About to turn in my notice and kick this down the road. Which for me, like we have training programs. We're always trying to upskill people.
Yep.
That's a big upskill. Big upgrade in life. So really excited about that. Tell me this, what made you went from lawyer to aeronautical mechanical engineer?
Yeah.
How did you make that jump?
So I really, when I was young, like a lot of kids, even though I had nobody say like, hey, you should be a lawyer, I liked the idea of debating, not in an adversarial sense, but in an intellectual sense. Well, maybe it was adversarial, and when I was like a sophomore, or junior in high school. But yeah, more. I have my principles, my values, but I also like to understand other people's thoughts, values, and then at the end of the day, you have the law, and the law says, it's much more clear. It's not ambiguous, and really, taking a step back, and one of my main drivers was, as I mentioned, I grew up in New Jersey, in a town called Summit, New Jersey, 20 miles west of Manhattan. And so September 11th affected my family and my community in a profound way. In our town, we lost people from our town who died at the World Trade Center. My father worked at World Trade Center 7, which is across the street from the Twin Towers. So he was there that day. He did not die. But yes, in September 11th, 2001, that really opened my eyes in the sense that there are people out there that don't support the Western democracy that we get to enjoy. And they don't support it so much as to giving their own life to attack us. And so really it was earth-shaking and groundbreaking for me as a junior in high school. And that's when I really got more involved in politics to understand, just to kind of open that aperture for my own education. And from there, I studied political science, and I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And then I did a missions trip to Guatemala in March 2008, and that really put a drive in me that I wanted to serve and be of service and work towards a goal much greater than myself. And instead of mission work, it was just joining the Marine Corps.
Jamie, what was it from the Marine Corps training mindset that you still use right now in moving from a really fun, stable career at Blue Origin into doing your own drone program?
Yeah. So I would say first and foremost, what I learned from the Marine Corps is, again, just this being a part of a group of individuals that is tied together as a team, working towards a much greater goal than myself, which is preserving Western democracy. And from that, how I became a Marine was this profound sense of loyalty. This I wasn't necessarily disciplined, but the Marine Corps embedded that in me, and has taught me that with enough discipline and organization and the right aggressive mindset, I can really accomplish anything. And from that, I took that to my schooling. I was 28 years old when I got out of the Marine Corps. I worked as a line service technician at the airport. I was pumping fuel into airplanes. It was an amazing job. I just couldn't see there was not much money. So when thinking about starting a family, it was a real challenge. And so I kind of looked around and I said, okay, well, where can I make more money? And it was, well, I got to become an engineer. And so I used my GI Bill. And it's appropriate that this is for the community college system. I just started studying engineering at the community college using my GI Bill. I quit my job. Talk about taking a huge risk.
Yeah.
It was, I have no evidence to suggest I'm good at math, science, physics, engineering. But I have this drive, I have this desire. And from the Marine Corps, it was, you do hard things, just go and do them,
Just go do more.
Yeah. And not that like, failure is not an option, but it's just like, hey, Jamie, like you've done hard things before, maybe this is going to be hard for you. And it certainly was. It was hard for me for 4 years. But I had evidence from the Marine Corps, individual evidence that with the right support, with the right attitude, I can achieve those things.
Right.
And so that's what I did for 4 years, studied, 10 to 12 hours a day. I'm not the super gifted math and science kid. But I had a drive and a desire. And undoubtedly because of my time in the Marine Corps, I was able to accomplish that. And so, I had a wonderful community college experience up in northern New York.
What was it called?
It was Hudson Valley Community College. And it was, exactly what I needed. I hadn't taken a math class in a decade. And they had down at the library, they had math tutors that were there to help you from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You just go there and do your homework. And it wasn't a tutor. It was like, you all hang out in a room. And if you have any math homework questions while you're doing your math homework, you raise the flag, and then the math tutors come over. It was an amazing experience.
Okay. Sounds like they're really wrapping around the services. So you finished the degree, you got to Blue Origin, and it was rewarding and satisfying.
Very much so.
So, but it's some folks like it's a terminal job. Like,
Right.
cool. Like I've made it.
Right.
I don't get to work on rockets, and they're going to go to the moon, wherever they're going to go. How did you get into the drone idea?
Yep. So a decade ago, I was studying aviation operation or aeronautical engineering. Drones came onto the scene. I became rather obsessed with them. I got my Part 107 drone license, which allows you to fly commercially, i.e., make money flying drones. And so I've had that for a decade. And then, flash forward to, 9 or 10 years later, December of 2025, Secretary Hegseth, Defense Secretary of War, came out with the Drone Dominance Program, which has pushed all of this energy, and of which I'm part of all of this energy. It's basically a war cry to the industry, saying what the Drone Dominance Program is. Over the next 2 years, the Department of War will be procuring 340,000 drones for $1.1 billion. Every 6 months, there's a new competition. We're currently in phase 2, so 6 months ago was phase 1. And with every phase, the price is going to be dropped, the volume is going to go up, and the amount of vendors that's selected is going to go down. And so that was my drive, because it was, for 9 years I've known about drones, that it's, these drones have essentially democratized the space above us. But now we have an actual signal from the Department of War saying this is how much money, these are the amounts of drones that we're going to be buying, and this is how much money we're going to be paying for these drones.
Okay.
So
that's
and so individually,
yeah.
it was a direct response to this new demand. This new the demand has always been there. The signal, the procurement signal is there. The money's there. The energy's there.
It's the first time that's been all aligned.
Yes.
In a vehicle which private or large companies could say, hey, we're going to go after this.
Exactly.
So, all right. So you saw that and had the experience and said, okay, that's something I can do. And I remember, like, we had just met,
but
right when that was going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was one of the first things we ever talked about. Now, where did rate manufacturing come from? Because the people need to they need to remember that name.
Yep.
Because they're going to see it. If they're on social media, they're seeing it. But where did rate come from?
So when I started at United Launch Alliance down the road here in Decatur, I was a production engineer. I specifically moved from Denver to Decatur after United Launch Alliance had won a 38 launch contract from Amazon. And they were transforming their business model, where it was going to be 90% of government launches to now, 50% are going to be commercial. And I just had, I don't want to call it insider information within the company, but I was able, I was privileged to talk to some of the executives at ULA, and I said, hey, where the struggle is going to be? And many of them mentioned production, because they're going to be they're going to have a certain low rate of manufacturing and increase it to a higher rate of manufacturing. And so at ULA, we spoke of rate manufacturing, or the rate of manufacturing.
Okay.
And so in 2023, 3 years ago, I just bought the website Rate Manufacturing, because I thought, one of these days I'm going to make something at a high rate. I just didn't know what it was yet.
Okay. Wow.
And then I got to Blue Origin, and they spoke in the same rhetoric of rate. Rate was used a lot. And so I just want to make it clear, there's no IP to the idea of manufacturing things at a high rate.
Yeah.
And that I had bought that domain name in 2023.
That's some good foreshadowing.
Yeah. And so I'll be clear here. Only, I've lived in many states, as I mentioned, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Colorado. I will, be very clear, living here in North Alabama has allowed me to come up with that confidence to say, if asked to make 4,000 drones in 6 months, we will be able to do it here in Alabama. And because the talent pool is so strong, if folks just seem to know how to make things here in North Alabama. And I can say that because as the other states that I've mentioned, it just seems that everywhere I turn, people are making things. Here in Morgan County, I think there's 300 manufacturing facilities. The state of Alabama, we just make a lot of things. And so that's the implicit support that I needed in my head as I, drew out the kind of imaginary roadmap of, okay, well, if I would need to make 6,000 drones or 4,000 drones in 6 months, and it takes me 1 hour to make the drone, then we're just going to be hiring a lot of people. And, are they going to be full-time employees? Are they going to be contract manufacturers? The jury's still out, right? We haven't been asked yet to make, to make that many drones.
Yeah.
But we at least have the solution and the community architecture with the talent pool, Morgan County, North Alabama, and Alabama in general.
Alabama in general, and a lot of companies are finding that, and there's a lot of push, man. Alabama, I say 3 years ago, Huntsville was the number one place in the country to live.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
was, not the small town or big town, just number one period.
Yep.
Right. So big deal. But that had to do with the cost of living
Mhm.
and the talent pool here.
Yeah.
And the worker pool. So a lot of companies are seeing that. Now, so you made the jump recently in the time we've known each other to go from propulsion engineer at Blue Origin to rate manufacturing full time. And I want to talk to all the entrepreneurs out there in our audience, the people who are on the cusp of maybe I'll start my own business, whatever. If you could sum up in like a sentence, like something they could write on their forehead, what would you tell that person who's thinking about making the same jump?
One sentence.
Well,
Yeah, no. I mean, it's Nike's. Just do it. It. This is the first time I've started a company, and I've been thinking about starting a company for probably the past 20 years.
Okay.
And so I would say I'm about 19 years too late in doing this.
Sure.
Mind you, I started a drone company a decade ago called the Commercial Drone Solution, and back in 2017 I got my Part 107. But this is the first all in, take that risk, bet on yourself. Maybe that's another sentence.
I like that.
If you have evidence that you've succeeded in a task that was challenging, then you have all the evidence that you need to take that risk. And frankly, I'm not sure I'm qualified yet to be giving advice, but there's for me, from my life, it certainly made it certainly made sense.
Okay. And I agree. And I was around when you were thinking about it and we were praying over it for a long time. And then one day you're like, boom, man. So I'm sure there was a moment, but it just at some point you realized I have the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident.
Yep.
All the signs are there.
Yep.
I'm going to go. Cool.
Yep.
So you jumped into this. Now, your drones are different than a lot of the commercially available or other things that have been put out into the drone sphere.
Yep.
The blogosphere about drones. So tell the audience what makes the Rate drone different.
So one of the greatest differentiators is something that is very basic in nature, and that is that we make our frames out of G10 fiberglass. Fiberglass, it's used, G10 fiberglass, I actually, it's on the, it's used to make knives. It is easy to machine, and it is relatively inexpensive. And best part is that the stuff that we source, we can verify that it's either made here in the States or it's made by friendly allies, non-adversarial countries. And so what that means is it is NDAA compliant, National Defense. Oh, I forget the acronym, so we can probably take that out. But yeah, that it is compliant, and NDAA compliant is what the Department of War is seeking to, ensure that all components or almost all components that make up your drone are NDAA compliant.
So, fun fact: we built a drone operator course just to meet Part 107.
That
any kind of drone, like civilian, military, agriculture, whatever. But the drone that we used was not NDAA compliant, and we had to, and it was all through our course.
Okay,
we had to refilm.
Wow,
because of the executive order from the president.
Wow.
So it cost us a little time.
Right.
It cost us a chunk of money too.
Yeah.
And we were happy to do it. To get it right.
Right.
It actually comes out in 2 weeks.
Okay.
10 days, the 15th. We're gonna repilot that with Shelton State down in Tuscaloosa.
Interesting.
So we'll be able to train folks. And the pilot, we have another group in Fairhope area, Bay Minette, around Mobile Bay that is ready to pilot. And that is like realtors, some emergency responders, and I think some contractors.
Yep.
Like heavy equipment contractors.
Okay.
So a lot of interest there for 107, but I don't know if there's any military side of that
Right.
either yet.
Right.
So, and there's a group coming into Selma that says they're agriculture, but it feels like might not be just agriculture drones. So
Right.
anyway, so Alabama's kind of a hot spot right now for
Yeah, and
a
I
lot of
can go
things.
into that. I mean, Alabama. I mean, there's the Huntsville corridor
Yeah.
of drones. That it, if I were a betting man, I would say a year or two from now, Huntsville is going to be the headquarters for drones.
For drone defense.
For drone manufacturing. There's a lot of software and some other drone manufacturing out in California. But here in Huntsville, we have three very large names. That's PDW, AeroVironment, and Griffin Aerospace. And I'll add a fourth because they're growing like wildfire. My friend Matt Guess, his company Rising Tide Training Group out of Huntsville, they're doing amazing things. And RTTG, Rising Tide Training Group, they are looking to hire a lot of drone operators for drones here in America.
Okay.
And maybe Matt would be another good person for you to talk with because he's, to the best of my calculations, he's growing his company by at least 100 people this calendar year.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of groups to consider. Where our students could go.
Mhm.
Our completers. Let's jump back though. I don't think we finished talking about what makes the rate drone different. So you talked about the G10 fiberglass,
Yep.
which is all sourced from NDAA compliant resources and companies, whatever, cities, countries. What else? It's modular in nature.
It's modular in nature. We baseline to have a Picatinny rail on the bottom end, so that you can put really basically anything that you want on. You can 3D print. You can get the mil specs. It's open source. Mil specs on how to attach something to a Picatinny rail, and so with that. It really allows the end user or the other business that wants to integrate with us, just an easy way to integrate. The software is actually called firmware that we flash onto our flight controller, and that in and of itself is open source. And so we're not necessarily selling any closed system, any super proprietary solution, because what we're going after is drone dominance. Drone dominance program by phase 4 is going to be awarding a vendor an order for 50,000 drones to deliver in 6 months. And so that's what our mindset and our architecture and our solution set is aimed at, is keeping it open source, modular, scalable. And what is scalable? Well, for me, scalable is, and I'm not playing to the crowd here, but it's being in Alabama. Because if I can make, like I said, if I can make a drone every hour and I can, after a learning curve, get it down to half an hour, and that is my only constraint, then we just need to fill those working cells with humans, and having those humans make these drones.
Okay. I like that. And Alabama is very good at that.
Very, very good. And again, like I can't stress enough, if I did not live in Alabama, I don't think I would ever have thought to make, start a company.
Okay.
So maybe, the entrepreneurs out there, like if you live in Alabama and if you believe in yourself, just do it.
Well, that's what Barry Bryant said. If you believe yourself and have pride and dedication, you'll never lose or something.
Yeah.
And never quit. I don't butcher that, but
yeah,
don't kill me, Bama fans. All right. So you got this fiberglass, which is, what do most people make their drone frame out of?
Yes.
Carbon fiber?
Carbon fiber. And by most people, it's everybody but us.
Okay. Now I've had a few carbon fiber bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
Never had a fiberglass bicycle. Sounds like an interesting concept, but that fiberglass, I never trusted it. I mean, the carbon fiber, I never trusted the carbon fiber bike. I always felt like the forks, and I know it's dumb, but I always thought like this is going to snap off one day. It's going to go through my chest when I fall. But the fiberglass, is it more flexible or is it heat resistant? Why the fiberglass?
So there are better slightly better, material properties to carbon fiber,
Mm-hmm.
but they are marginal when we're talking about, having a, in a attritable, right, like a one-way mission drone, or something that doesn't necessarily need to have, you know, uh, our drone might be a few, 10 or 20 grams heavier than the other frame of a drone. And the carbon fiber is just kind of the baseline solution for all the drones, all the drone frames besides ours. And really, I guess the supply chain, if you buy a frame online, it's going to be carbon fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes it out of carbon fiber. Where that carbon fiber comes from, I'm not sure. I think one of the early on, what I loved about G10 is that it's a ubiquitous raw material that we can get here in America
Mm-hmm.
or from our friends and allies. I don't know exactly, where this carbon fiber would come from. You can do a Google search, like, find me some carbon fiber here in America, and it's very hard to find that. I guess it's relatively easy to machine. But one of the properties about carbon fiber is that it can create a Faraday cage where it messes with the signal
Mm-hmm.
of which the drone is entirely reliant upon for command and control, and going, anything that's drone related is reliant upon communication and radio signals.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an impediment there, it doesn't keep the drone from doing its mission. It just makes it a bit harder.
Yeah.
So with G10, it's there's no attenuation of signal. There's no bouncing back and forth. It's RF transparent. The signals can go in and out.
So, yeah, because if your frame was a certain thing, you would have to position all your components in a way that they wouldn't pass through something.
Correct.
Which may affect the balance and the flight and the overall function and weight and
modularity. And if you want to, right now, if you didn't like the design of our baseline frame, he said, I want to put, a port here, or I want to put a connector here. We will just go in and change the engineering. That engineering's changed, and we put it either, we would do it on our CNC router, and 24 hours later, you would have that new prototype.
Yeah.
Right. That's what that allows for us. Again, having ubiquitous raw material that's cheap, that's easy to machine. And that also lends to the idea that these drones, you fly a 737, you go to Florida, you're flying an airplane whose engineering has not changed. It can't really change. That's a commercial use, but with this drone warfare, Ukraine and Russia, from what I gather, it seems like every week or two they're constantly reiterating not just their tactics, but also the design of the drone. And I spoke to a Ukrainian drone company, and they're an incredible company, and they have 100 different variants for 100 different problem sets.
That's crazy.
So that's crazy. It's crazy. But so if that's the baseline requirement, that these things are always changing, then it's wise to always be changing and allow for that change. Allow to remove as much friction from change as possible.
Yeah.
And that is, a rate manufacturing differentiator. We just have we're a small team, but really, God's really blessed me with incredibly hardworking, innovative, much smarter individuals than myself, and it's incredible to see them work.
Yeah.
And that's what I say when people ask what's our differentiator is, Jake, Ryan, and Barrett. They are a bunch of hardworking, democracy-loving geniuses.
Yeah.
That just really don't have the word no in their wheelhouse.
Democracy-loving geniuses. All right, sounds like a good
DLGs.
the DLGs. Okay,
I'll text them that.
Good. That's fun stuff. All right, so you made the jump. You've got this really unique drone that is just different than every other concept out there, right?
Yeah.
And now you entered into these. You call them drone wars, or the drone the process. What did you call that?
Yeah.
To get into
the gauntlet, maybe. Yeah, maybe I said gauntlet. Okay.
Because I've seen that on
every
LinkedIn,
every phase, again, of which there are 4 phases for this drone dominance program. If selected, the participants compete in what's called the gauntlet. Um, uh, Back when rate manufacturing was 2 people in December of 2025, we went after phase 1. I had started the company early December. I met Jake, our CTO, Jacob Mead, December 27th. We wanted to go after phase 1 of drone dominance. On December 28th, we decided we would do that. And 12 days later, we submitted our solution, which was lightning fast. So Jake made the drone to meet all the requirements. We made a video to meet all the requirements. We got CMMC level 2 we got certified on the compliance end. And we submitted in 11 days. It's unheard of. And so at that pace, we didn't expect to get in. We recognize our size and our youth. Our company's new youth,
Right.
Not our youth. And so, 200 companies submitted, 25 got invited. We were not of those 25. Now for phase 2, phase 2 is a bit different than phase 1, where there's an intermediary competition between submitting and getting to the second gauntlet. And we did not submit. A company that is larger than us called Ewing Aerospace, they submitted using our drone and our team, and we will be competing together at this qualifying round. I think about 100 companies submitted, 50 got invited. And so the number of companies that got invited to actually fly their drones has doubled in size.
Yeah.
But those that actually submitted has been reduced by 50%. So
Okay.
from 200 to 100. And so now we are one of 50 companies that are going to be competing for the intermediary challenge. If we get selected, we will compete against 10 or 15 at the gauntlet. It's a bit, it makes a lot of sense in my head, and maybe I'm not properly communicating.
No, it does, because you're whittling down through just the natural competition.
Yes.
Best man wins, best machine wins.
Yep.
What is, when you say we're going to go fly and you say the word gauntlet, it makes me think there's an obstacle course, there's certain challenges,
Yep.
certain activities the drone must be able to do.
Yes.
Is that something you can share with the audience? Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds really, really cool.
Yeah. So we don't know what's going to be at the gauntlet. We do know what's going to be at the qualifying round, which is, there's actually 2 mission sets. The first mission set is mission A, so it's a different platform. That drone has to go 20 kilometers, so 12.4 miles. It needs to be going after I believe a stationary target, and it needs to be able to eventually fly in an environment where your RF, your radio frequencies, are being jammed and your GPS is denied. So it's mimicking the contested environments that we're currently seeing throughout the world where there's actual engagements.
Okay.
Our company is not going after mission A. Mission B is the company that will be going after, which is up to 2-kilometer flight into an urban environment to go after, again, either a moving or a static target. And again, in a similar setting where GPS is denied, where RF is being jammed.
So when you say a moving target, be a lot of things that move.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
They're in a battlefield. So you're just going after. Okay, I got it. I don't think I want to go all the way there, but that makes sense.
And it's all it's all public, information for dronedominance.io or just dronedominance.mil.
Yeah.
It's what's really cool. I mean, this is unlike anything that I think really anybody's ever seen. They're constantly updating the leaderboard. They say, right now you can go on dronedominance.io and you can see what companies won the gauntlet and what companies, how many drones were ordered by the Department of War, and of those ordered, how many have been delivered by each company. So there's like this streaming leaderboard. It's like you're watching like a PGA, it's like,
Yeah.
like it's like a competition.
That's really
And so
cool.
it's very competitive. But also what's really cool is it's such a small market. Even your competitors, at least the way that I see the environment, yeah, you're competing, but it can still be in a collaborative effort.
Okay. So how many phases of the gauntlet are there? 4?
There are 4.
Four.
Or so 4 of drone dominance program,
Okay.
and 1 gauntlet per phase.
Okay. So that makes sense. So, and you're in the second phase now
Yes,
of the
and
drone dominance?
we are there, not as a not as a quiet participant, but we are supporting Ewing Aerospace by doing the assembly and by using our drone. And Ewing Aerospace makes electrical components and drone components. Those components are going on to our drone.
Perfect.
And we're, it's a perfect marriage.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really cool. So now, so you're in phase 2, and you've obviously had good results, or you wouldn't be proceeding.
Right.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if you're like, oh man, it didn't work out. I wouldn't want to tell a sad story.
Right. No.
It didn't have promise. So, where do you see? Let's say that it lands, like the drone lands its mission, mission B specifically. You get to the end, and now you have survived the drone dominance program. You survived all the gauntlets, and your company is ready to actually enter into the process to make things for battle, right? Whatever, survival, whatever. What does that look like? And this is a question that I want my professional colleagues to hear, the State Department of Workforce to hear. What does it look like for rate manufacturing to support Ewing Aerospace in Alabama? What do you need from the state? What do you need from workers, training? Like, how does it look for Alabama to support this initiative? Think about this. What does the build look like? What does the build space look like?
Yeah.
Is it one person per drone? Is it an assembly line?
Yeah. So it is an assembly line of sorts. The elephant in the room, or the dirty little secret. I mean, it's not a secret. These drones, if properly engineered and designed, are not exotic in nature. Therefore, their assembly is not exotic in nature. So what we need and what we will need are individuals who are willing to learn, who can. I mean, it really, you can be mechanically inclined, but also, I'm not doing my job if I can't properly teach you how to solder, if I can't properly teach you the signal theory, or teach you how to fly a drone, right? The beautiful nature of assembling these drones is, well, A, it's really cool and really fun. And B, while it's challenging work, again, I'm not doing my job at rate manufacturing if I'm not making it a simple solution for assembly.
Okay.
And so really what I will need is a workforce who's motivated, who's disciplined, who's excited to come to work, and has a drive, and a mindset of growth, because this drone problem, and the problem here in America is our capacity, our capability. What is the rate of the manufacturing? And last year, America only made 300,000 drones. And I say only because Ukraine made something like 4 million drones, and China made something like tens of millions of drones.
Sure.
So organically, we should be sitting in between Ukraine and Russia, and we're at 300,000 drones.
Okay. So let me pause you right there, because what I know about you, Jamie, is that every time we have a conversation, I'm trying to keep up with this guy, because he is playing 3D chess.
just like you're so smart, like you're seeing
Thank you.
things. And it's not fluff. That's just anybody that talks to you sees that. But I want to slow you down just for a second and tell you that here in Alabama, in North Alabama, you have Calhoun, Drake State, Wallace, Huntsville, right around Huntsville metro area. Then you have Northeast Alabama and Sneed State, even Gadsden and Northwest Shoals, and even Bevel up into. So you have 7 or 8 community colleges, communities who already teach machining. And we have a course, Skills for Success, Machine Operator, which you could put that fiberglass frame and they could machine.
Mhm.
A machine operator is a machinist assistant, really.
Yep.
Okay. We also have, in most of those places, a wiring harness design, which includes often the J standard for soldering, which is what the rockets use, right?
Right.
So, what kind of standard do you have for the soldering in your world?
Ideally, it's going to be solderless. And so I mentioned the soldering.
Okay.
And now that we're having this conversation, like my mind's going to there's all these possibilities, right? Because the ideal scenario is that you have, again, motivated individuals that want to learn, that want to be educated, that want to work. And in that, what we're doing is we're creating the chassis, the hardware, so that it is just ready to be activated with software, with hardware, with Raspberry Pi 5s and Jetson Orin Nano Minis are being fed computer programming to do the real hardcore computing that turns these drones into wildly powerful flying vehicles.
Okay.
And so part of this, future, incubation of the workforce throughout the community college is not just the hands-on, but the integration of the machine learning, the AI, the programming, the flying, for students. It's to me, these drones are a very, very fun engineering problem because, again, we've democratized the space above us. They're really cheap. They're really easy to make. And if that's the case, what then can we do as programmers, as machinists, as assemblers, as somebody who likes to write programs or vibe code, whatever kind of program. The sky is the limit in terms of what these drones are capable of.
Okay. So let me pitch this to you. Of course, you got the community college system, and everybody I mentioned earlier. You have the Alabama Training Network, which is a whole bunch of industrial maintenance, but also leadership management, but also lean and ISO. Is that right? ISO.
Yep.
Okay. They can help with that. They also help write standard operating procedures. And then you have the Alabama Department of Workforce, which used to be a lot of different things. But they often gather a new company and say, okay, what do you need? What's your process? Let's help you find people. We'll train them to do your thing.
Right.
And then you can hire them.
Perfect.
Okay. And so my question is, do you have the SOP for the build? Working on it.
Well, I'm smiling because the answer is yes.
Okay.
But that can change tomorrow. Well, it's always going to change, right? So the standard build, that's not going to change.
Sure.
So the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
The reason I'm smiling is because, while we can have a static solution of how to put it together, I also don't want to say that this is I don't want us to get stuck in, one way of doing things.
Oh, no.
Because, 6 months from now, things change.
Well, okay, and there's probably some engineers out there at the ATN who are like, "I got this, bro. Just send him to us. Quit talking." They're looking at me and just say, "Quit saying words."
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get to in my head is, who do I need to call when we hang up this phone call and say, "Hey, y'all, you need to meet Jamie, and here's where we're going," and let you make that sales pitch to them and outline your need.
Right.
Because I think that is something we're connected with the agricultural drones and first responders and some surveillance, like surveillance of people, but, using them for fire and rescue, whatever. But no one is really talking about it in my circle about the military side of this.
Okay.
And so I think it's really cool that, we could support that. We're working with the missiles and rockets and stuff, submarines.
Right.
Cool. let's talk about drones, because if you watch the news, it's very clear it's not going away.
So
It's not going away.
Yeah.
And I want Alabama to be submarines and drones.
Yeah, and and again, like that problem of the 300,000 drones in America last year, that's where, again, that problem in my head, as I look at the roadmap to success, because I'm here, that problem is solved, right? When all that demand comes out, and if I'm correct, and 2 years from now, there's a demand from the Department of War of 10 million drones, like, I'm not betting my house, but I'm betting that a majority of those drones will be made here in Alabama.
I can see it. I mean, if there was, if you flash, 10 years ago, it's like, hey, in the future, Northwest Shoals and Colbert County is going to be home to part of building submarines. People will have laughed you out of the room.
Right.
Well, guess what? They're about to do it. A whole big thing, and Mobile's been in it for a while. So, crazy people like you with these crazy dreams make those things happen. So, if we're probably getting really close to the end. If you had some final thoughts and you wanted to leave the audience of people who are looking for a new career, people who want to get invested, people who want to support this from a government, educational setting, what are your final thoughts that you would leave them with?
If you are interested in flying things, if you're interested in drones, either flying them or making them or what they're capable of, and you think to yourself, well, why haven't they done this? The answer is this is a nascent market. They haven't thought of this because it's a brand new market. You're right and they are wrong. And go build a drone and go figure it out for yourself, and fly it and get to experience the profound power and excitement you get in because this is a DIY. You can go buy all the parts you need to and put it all together for less than $500 and fly it around. And that is the future of the way wars will be fought. They will not only be fought with drones, but again, millions of drones are being deployed in Ukraine and Russia. They're being deployed in Iran. They are the future of weaponry, whether we like it or not. That is the case. And so it's coming back. It's a fun problem to have. It's fun to put together drones. And if that's exciting to you, reach out to me or one of the other, amazing drone companies we have here in Alabama.
Yeah.
Because North Alabama is going to be the drone corridor. If I have anything to say about it.
I love that. How do people find you?
Jamie at ratemanufacturing.com or on LinkedIn, Rate Manufacturing. We do have an Instagram. I need to start updating it more. But yeah, we got some cool stuff. We have some really cool stuff on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a really good way for us to communicate to the world what it is that we're doing. And it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I've been having a ton of fun.
You have.
It does not feel like work. I can guarantee you that.
And I see that in you every time we talk about it. It's just like, this guy's just changing the world, having a good time doing it. So good for you, man. Thanks for giving us your time. This won't be the last time we talk about Rate Manufacturing. Hopefully next time you let me fly one because they're built, and we'll come to your new building and have an on-site podcast. So good, man. Well, thanks for being here. Jamie Waller from Rate Manufacturing. This has been another great episode of the Innovation Unplugged. Remember to check out trainforalabama.com for all things skills for success, or ratemanufacturing.com for all things drone dominance. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day.